Okay. So I decided to do something completely different today. Instead of having a pre-planned presentation with lots of notes, we're going to have a discussion, and I just have some things that you're going to drive what we learn about with using the library today, and to see how to navigate it. And it really is its own little universe out there. So that's why so understanding how that universe or solar system works will lead you in a long way to finding out or knowing where to find stuff. And we have so much stuff now. And I apologize. I'm going to have to pause just a moment because my cat decided he needs out of this room, and he is scratching me and getting on the door. So hang on just 1 second. That's the lovely part of virtual meetings. Okay, I am back. We'll see how long before he beats on the door. Okay, so everyone should be able to see this screen with the Earth. And we're going to talk about the different things, or I'm going to let you ask questions and we will discuss about the different things that you can find in the library. Because most of you are aware we have databases and ebooks. And we have ebooks in a variety of formats, so it's good to understand what those are. We have things that are open access, so you can ask questions about those and what they mean. I'm also going to talk about what I call wormholes. There are things in the library that help you get to different places in the library quickly, or different resources more quickly when you're not quite sure what to search. And then I put out there in the unknown, when you're Googling stuff or looking at just free internet databases, what to be aware of. So we can talk about that. So I am going to ask you to go to the chat. And yes, Mary, we are being recorded now. So I'm going to ask you to go to the chat and tell me what you would like to know. You can put what you find you have the most questions about, or what you think you need the most help with, or what you're most intrigued to learn about. And we're going to let you drive that. Maritza hey, welcome, Maritza, open access. Anyone else? Does anyone need help? Okay, ebook formats. How especially open an EPUB? Okay. Anyone else? How do you find journal articles enough that you can see if the article is applicable? Okay, we can do that. And how to use ebooks more effectively. Okay. Do we need to know exactly what we're looking for? Can we go out there and search it? Yes, we can. That's a wormhole. So I'm going to show you how to use that. So we're going to go ahead and begin, but feel free to keep adding things into the chat. And as we go along, we will see how much ground we can cover. But since Maritza started us off with open access, we're going to go there and talk about that. Open access is really an important thing to understand why it's different from just any other database out there. This whole concept of open access databases and books began with the fact that information has value. Okay. When you write something and you want it to be published, okay, think about that. Authors write books and somebody pays them a royalty to print it. And in the academic world, the same thing happens, but a lot of people can do one or two things. They can submit it to a journal and have it printed and never get paid for it. But the publisher is making a lot of money on the subscription of that journal, or they're making a lot of money on how to by selling it. When you've hit those paywalls and you're searching and they want $20 to $50 for you to have a copy of that article. Some of you may have come into that. And so in the academic world, the model is changing because a lot more people want to get things published. And so, and they're not getting paid for it. And so some people are kind of tired of the publishers making all this money on their hard work. And all they get is a score on their all-metric score that says, you know, if you're somebody who's publishing work, there's a score that keeps that academics look at, that tells them, oh, 500 people have cited your article or your paper, but they're not making any money from it, but they want it out there. So open access has come along, and some publishers have vehicles for you to publish at open access. It's freely available on the internet. You're not making any money, but neither is the publisher making money off your hard work. And we have several different places you can find open access material that has been still vetted for scholarly content. But I will tell you, sometimes still scholarly content it can be scholarly and peer reviewed, but things written about religion right now that aren't on the Catholic realm, sometimes are not in the Catholic realm, can still be a little questionable when we look at it. So you have to use your judgment. But we have 4 sources of open content in our library. We have access to JSTOR, which you will see in the hot links, WorldCat, the Digital Theological Library, and I posted this week or last week a guide for using the International Critical Commentaries, and where the Hathi Trust has put them out for publication. So let me pull up the library. Any questions so far? Okay, so when we're here in the library, the first one I'm going to talk about is JSTOR. JSTOR is a huge humanities, which will include religion and theology, database of books and articles. We currently only have access to JSTOR open access as a university or an institution. However, you can sign up as an individual member, and where open access will allow you to download and print articles that are not behind a paywall. If you sign up as that individual member, you at least have access to read up to 100 articles on JSTOR a month. So when you use it, and Maritza, let me know if I'm not answering the questions you have about JSTOR or any other open access thing. So when you go in, click on the hot link. You have a question? Oh, you just muted yourself. You muted.
Yes, now I understand what is the open access. Thank you.
Okay. So JSTOR, your default is to search all the open access. So if I put in St. Augustine and search JSTOR, you can see that
Are
there
you
are
sharing-
27,000 articles.
Are you sharing your screen? I'm sorry.
Did it not? Did it? Yeah, so I'm sharing my screen. Do you not see
Oh.
this screen with JSTOR on it?
I don't think so. I don't know. That's okay. Go on.
I
The
do
rest-
see
You
it.
might need to click in a spot on your screen that says to view what's being shared, because I was having that
Viewing
issue as well, and I was like, this is weird, but then I saw where
where
I needed to click that.
Okay, yeah, I have a green bar on top of my screen. It says you are viewing Stephanie Garrett's.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see here.
And see if when you click that, it drops down and opens the rest of the screen.
Or go to view. If you go to
yeah,
view,
view.
if you want side-by-side gallery
Side by side speaker gallery. Okay.
or side-by-side
Here we
speaker.
go.
War.
Got it. Thank you, Mary.
Okay. You found me? All right, good.
Thank you.
Okay. So, and see here, we'll look here and we'll see that it's free. We can download it. We can cite it. But you see this button here that says save? That's a really good thing to know about, because up here in the top corner, you can register for a free account, or if you've already registered for it, log in. Hold on, I probably have to go get my password. It never likes to save my JSTOR password, which always slows me down. So give me just a second.
Why do they call it open access where you have to log in and pay for something?
Well,
What's
no,
open about it?
no, it's open. All those articles right there, you didn't have to pay for if they didn't make them open access. JSTOR has things that are both open access as well as paid access.
Okay.
So.
Because I had to pay when I came here, I had to pay.
Well, before you pay next time,
Yeah.
you should email me and ask me, because sometimes I have library friends who their institutions have JSTOR access, and they will lend me a copy of the PDF that I can share for you. So that was a really good question. Okay, so now I'm logged into my Stephanie Garrett account, my personal account that's like my personal JSTOR library, and I can save this article. I can create a folder, like I could name, if I was taking Theo 268, I could name that folder Theo 268, and everything I wanted to research for that course, I could save in there. So I didn't have to kill a lot of trees printing them out. And then I can go back to them later. I'm just going to save them to my workspace. And then I can go later to my workspace. And I can see all the articles that I've saved for my use. Okay. Now that I've gone to my workspace, if I look up here in my browser, I am just in JSTOR. I'm not in open content anymore. So I can back up over that workspace and just hit JSTOR. And it's going to give me a different search bar for jstor.org because it doesn't say open content. And if I search St. Augustine this time, I now have 81,000 articles that talk about them. If it's free, it says I can download it. This is the one from the open content, which is where I take everyone first. But because not everyone has set up their JSTOR account, then if you look here, this one is read online. So it's been moved. It lets me read that online at no cost. I can't print it. You know, if I'm tech savvy, I could do a screen print of a page to save something I wanted to remember. But to read 100 articles a month is a lot of reading. So you can get a lot of content. And if I go back over here and you want help with searching later, if you need help with searching or finding things in the library or in JSTOR or setting up your account, if you come over here to this sidebar, which is like the library, what do I want to call it? The library map over here. There is a whole section that JSTOR has provided us with tips and tricks for searching, organizing your research. It has video tutorials and such. So that is one form of open access. And that's,
and you were talking about the cite button?
yes. I'm going to go back. Okay. So the citation button is where you're going to get your citation from that you can copy and paste into a Word document. So what you do is you click and it's going to give you several different options.
Oh, dude.
MLA, Chicago, or APA. Quick, who's the first person who can tell me which one of these citations we want?
Chicago.
Chicago, yes, because Turabian is the student and researcher version. Sometimes you do have to make some corrections, but JSTOR looks like it is got the, excuse me, hang on. It has the notes and bibliography formatting right here. So you can just copy that to your clipboard and then paste it in your document. Okay. Now, the other, if I click back over here, the other open access databases that are out there, they are listed in the, because they're not geared where they don't link into our WorldCat wormhole that's going to search a lot of things. So these two are listed under free. I'm going to show you in a minute, the free internet databases. Let me go back over there. Oh, here, the right screen now. I'm going to close this so I don't have too many things open on my screen. Go back to the library main page. Okay, in free internet databases, there's a list of other open access databases that they have not set up with our, they're not set up to be searched by WorldCat, which is our a wormhole that I'll talk about when I answer, let's see, when I answer Carrie's question. So, but here are, these are all open access databases that have been created and are free to use. JSTOR's open content is listed here again. The open access digital theological library is one, a really big one to use. And the other one was, I don't know, did I not put, okay, I'll have to show you. I just realized I hadn't added international critical commentaries in there, but I'll show you in just a minute. So open access digital theological library, you can click here. And I'm just going to give you a very quick overview of this one. It might take it a minute. It seems to be taking it a minute to come up. But for those of you who've used the Internet Archive, the Open Access Digital Theological Library has been working to connect users, and it may not open up, so we may have to pass, or we'll be here forever. But it's been working to connect resources like that in one place. It's not responding, so I'm not sure what's going on. But it also has some good lexicons for Greek and Latin in there. Is one thing that you will find there, and over 190,000 books. But it's compiling everybody who has scanned books and tried to make them available. So it can pull things from the Internet Archive. It'll take you there. It'll take you to Christian Classics Ethereal Library sometimes. It might take you, but it's just one big warehouse for it. And then I'm going to go back to the home page. And we have, did it put it in here? Okay. So over here I realized I had not loaded it onto the other page, but anytime I'm doing something new for the library, it'll show up here. So it's always a good thing to search. And we have this new link that I created for the International Critical Commentaries. And these are all, except for two of them, they are in the Hathi Trust. So if you want to learn more about who's paying and supporting that, and these are all things that are in the public domain that they have made available. So if you wanted to see, this is a very common source used by other seminaries and biblical schools. So if you wanted to see this commentary on Job, you can click on it. And give it a moment, it'll open up. And you can see where they have done a really nice job at the Hathi Trust at scanning these books and making them readable for you.
Question.
Yes.
When you say critical, what's critical about this? I mean, what does it mean?
That was just the name of the series.
Okay.
But it's another common collection of books that are used by seminaries and religious schools.
Yep.
And so
okay.
Some of them can be Catholic oriented, some of them can be Protestant oriented. It just depends on who the author is, but it is a well thought of or highly thought of commentary series. So you don't get citation privileges on it. You don't get I don't think it will let you print them either. You might be able to screenshot some of them. However, you can have access without having to spend a lot of tens of thousands of dollars. So after a publisher gets the rights to digitize it.
Question.
Yes.
When you say wormhole.
Okay. I'm going to do wormholes in a minute. It's okay. Wormholes are going to be the ways to jump around and search more than one database in the library or to find out more information. Do what?
Are you going to know you're in a wormhole? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see.
There are two things that I'm going to talk about as wormholes. They're going to be the LibGuides themselves, which are featured in here, and some of these things in here. And the big wormhole is this search box right here.
So a wormhole is not the same as a rabbit hole.
No. Well, it can be, because you never know where you're going to exit that wormhole, where it's taking you to that first time. So I also, if you haven't visited the library, I'm always posting the new books in the carousel here. So always quick access to what's new, what's happening. And while I'm here, also, if you want to see all of the guides and all of the things, there's a site map down here. So guides, there's a couple of course guides in there, how-to guides, resource guides, topic guides, where to get writing help, or just a list of all the guides. And that's another wormhole, where to find things in the library. You just, okay, let me go back up here and look at the next question, because we've done a lot on open access. Okay, so Mary asked about ebook formats, especially how to open an EPUB. All right, so let me come back up here. If you go to ebooks here or ebooks right here, it's going to take you to the same thing. It is going to take you to a resource called Theological eBooks, and we pay for this, so you have to authenticate with your Populi. That's how you always know something is paid access, that we're paying for that for you, because it'll make you authenticate. Okay, so you have, the first thing we have are Theological eBooks, and there is a guide under where it said ebook stacks on the left. If you have a tablet of some sort, I guarantee you want to download an e-reader. They're much easier to read that way than trying to read on your screen, or even you can download it to your phone, so there are instructions for there. But all of these books are set up just like if you went to your public library and you got free ebooks through Overdrive or Libby and read them on your tablet. They're set up for read only. But that makes it difficult for academic research, because sometimes you just need a chapter or a section of a chapter. And these, you get to check them out for 14 days. And this library is a shared library. CDU pays for books and puts them in there to share, and 18 other schools add books, and we all share them. So if there are not multiple copies, somebody could be waiting for it. Your 14 days is up, you're still writing your paper, and you have to wait for the book. So let me close these out. I started buying ebooks in EPUB format through EBSCO. And I have this box here, searches both the ATLA religion database and all the ebooks that I have put in there from EBSCO. And I'm actually negotiating a third platform for that with more things. But when you come in here, and you can come up here right now, it says it's searching. And if I hit show all, it's searching the ATLA religion database, which is going to be journal articles. It's searching the ebook collections of books that we purchased for the library in EPUB format or PDF format, and also open access books. And we have a few audiobooks in both. So if you like audiobooks, you can check out an audiobook to listen to as well. So I'm going to choose the databases right now so that we're just looking at ebooks. Okay. And because I know what's in there, I'm going to do St. Therese. And I'm going to search. And you're going to see, well, it's going to pull up this first one. I thought there was another one, but she didn't come up with just a wild search. when you just, I called that a wild search. When you just put a name in here and don't do any parameters, that's the, like, what rabbit holes are out there? You're not sure what's going to come up. But I don't want to click here. If I click here, it's just going to show me the bibliographic information. What I want to do is see the EPUB. So just like when you're searching for full text articles, you have to look for the PDF symbol and the full text and open that up. Here you look for the EPUB and click, and it's going to open it up. Give it a moment. And how you see information in this left-hand bar, which is going to give me the table of contents, is all going to depend on how the publisher formatted the book. Okay, so they can be different. So in this one, get this out of the way. You could download this full book, but you cannot necessarily print. Well, this one you can. If you look here in the detailed record, you can save unlimited pages. You can copy and paste. It has unrestricted downloads. So maybe I look through this and say, oh, I just want to use this section of the parable of the barren fig tree. I want to open it up and take a look at it. And so here it is. I can read it. I can come over here to this arrow and I can download this. If I click the arrow, it's going to download the PDF of that chapter. I can just tell it that chapter. Or maybe I only want 3 pages. So starting at that page and the next 3. But I can download that to a PDF so I can print it out and mark it up and know what I need to know for future. I can also come up here and get my citation for the whole book. And there's my citation to copy out. And in ATLA, you have to skip this first one for Chicago because it's author date. That does not correspond to Turabian. You have to come down here to notes and bibliography. So I can copy that out. So Mary, is there someplace else you've looked at EPUBs and had trouble with? Which site?
I don't even remember, but it may have been how the publisher loaded it. It may have been that I was trying to read it on a Kindle or on my Kindle app, but yes. I couldn't find an app to open it and read it. It wasn't just straight PDF.
Okay. And sometimes there are instructions. Did I put them in here? So how to read ebooks on your devices. Okay. And this one is for Odilo. Okay.
I've used Odilo.
Okay, let me look because there are some instructions also for EBSCO, if it's an EBSCO book. And this is what's so great about going wherever I see. I see the black holes tonight. Ebook. So there you can download an EBSCO app for reading theirs. Sometimes they'll let you also do a third party like Bluefire reader that you can download to your tablet, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can download them to your Kindle. It depends on your Kindle and the formats it takes. Okay. And what it will allow you to do. But I just made a note that we need to look at that. Okay.
Thank you.
So how do you find journal articles and see how they're applicable? All right, let's go back to EBSCO. And I am going to choose the databases again. And I'm going to search the ATLA religion database, because this is the one that probably gives people the most headaches for how to get that journal article and see it. And let's see. So I am going to search for something I searched for this morning so that I know that, because it can be a rabbit hole every time. But I'm going to start searching for Bartolome de las Casas. Okay. Now, I didn't tell ATLA anything except I wanted to search Bartolome de las Casas. And if I hit search now, it's going to find 459 articles that contain something about him. They can be in different languages. You can see some of these are books, but you notice there is nothing that says PDF full text, and there is nothing that says EPUB or PDF book. And that is because this database is huge. ATLA's goal is to document every religious journal out there and every article. And that in the library world is called indexing. So it's making you aware that that exists, but it doesn't necessarily mean you can get it just because you're looking at a database. Okay. One, it takes a lot of work to scan and digitize and format. So some of these, they're in the middle of doing that. Some of these, they're in the middle of getting the rights to do that. And some of them cost and some of them don't. So what you have to do is, if you just done this and you went, wait a minute, I didn't tell it full text on this first screen. You have to come down here to refine your results and tell it that you want full text only. And it's going to go back through there. And now we have 61 articles that have this lovely, our best friend, PDF full text right here. And we know that we can get that copy. And if you don't speak French or English, or excuse me, Spanish, or you just want French or Spanish, you can always come over here to language and select what you want. There's one article that's Italian, there's 7 in French, there's 8 in Spanish, and I'm going to go for the 31 in English and not get so frustrated. Unless you want a lesson on how to use Google Translate to turn it to English, which we could do a whole nother section on. So I have this article here, and then I'm going to look. I can see that this says periodical. This says academic journal. And sometimes they'll say review. Here's one that's a review. Okay. So this is going to be a book review in a periodical, most likely. So it's just going to be a paragraph or something about somebody else's article or book they wrote on. Your academic journal is going to be a full qualified or peer-reviewed academic journal. I really don't worry about peer review because we don't subscribe to anything that EBSCO's searching for that's not already vetted. However, we do get periodicals that are sometimes more for popular reading. Like here, this one's probably a magazine that people that are the Presbyterian faith might subscribe to. Like we might subscribe to a Catholic journal or something from our Sunday Visitor. Okay, so it's still going to be religious in content. It's still going to be scholarly, but probably not as scholarly as something that's an academic journal. Now, how do you know if you want to invest your time in that? Which I think is Robert's question. So check or tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, hang on.
Yeah,
there goes
that's right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the PDF full text. And Atlas is really nice because it gives you lots of things you can do. Or like the other database, when we're looking in JSTOR, you can set up a EBSCO account and sign in and save all your things in folders. You can just automatically download it to a PDF. This is a 12-page article. So what I would do is I would open it up and I would scan it. I would look at if I recognize who wrote it. I know that from some research I did earlier today that Fernando Cervantes has done a lot of research or writings on De las Casas. Okay, I recommend you read that. Sometimes I'll have an abstract, which is just an overview blurb, or at least so the abstract, maybe the introductory paragraph. Scroll through and look. This one has subheads, so look at the subheads to see how they talk about things. Okay, so far I don't see any footnotes, but sometimes the footnotes are endnotes and show up at the end. So I just kind of scan through. He's going to talk about De las Casas as a scholar and a young man. I'm going to keep going because I want to see some footnotes in here.
Yeah, I saw a couple go by.
Yeah, well, here they are. So here I'm looking at his sources. I like this. It's telling us who Cervantes, who wrote this, is, and some of his, academic accolades. And a lot of times I'll say, then read the conclusion also. And so you're going to, both of those, if they're well-written academic articles, are going to tell you what's talked about in the body and then a recap. So that is what you can do. EBSCO is really nice. It gives you lots of ways to do the same thing. You can download it here. You can download it here. You can print it. You can save it directly to your Google Drive or your OneNote. You can print it again. You could email yourself a link to get back to it. If you have signed in, you can put it in your folder here or here. And then here's the one you want right here. This little piece looks like a piece of ledger paper that somebody's wrote on an old yellow legal pad, is what it reminds me of. And you click on it, and it's going to give you your citations. Now, this is a global resource, so there are some things that we've never even heard of or used before. Go down to Chicago Notes and Bibliography and copy and paste it to your Word document.
Yes, I think the problem that I was having is that I was never able to load the documents too much. I would just be able to see the abstract, and that really didn't have enough information.
And a lot of times that happens with things that the PDF full text is not available. You'll see that on JSTOR a lot. Mm-hmm. You'll only, or if you've gotten something that that you've clicked through, because let me show you how to go back to the results list here. Sometimes what people do, instead of clicking on this, they'll click here. And it's going to take them to the bibliographic information. And sometimes, so they go, oh, well, here's the availability. And they'll click here and it takes them to the publisher's URL. And sometimes when you get there, it'll just show you the abstract.
Right.
And so that's the way that happens a lot of the time. And sometimes it'll show all the things here for the journal. Sometimes you'll have a list of all the years of the journal. And so you click and you go down and you finally get there. And once again, it just takes you to the publisher information. So your key is clicking on this. Okay. Any other questions while we're in EBSCO? Okay, how are we doing? Okay, so Deacon Surge, you had a question on how do we use ebooks more effectively. So I showed you, we took a look at downloading from the when they're an EPUB in the Atlas Religion database. Do you want to know some tips for better use of the books that are in here in the ebook stack?
Okay. Yeah, in the ebook, because when I use the ebook, you get the book, you can page through it, but you can't copy it, you can't do anything. So what I do, I just take pictures of the pages.
Right.
Is that legal to do? Is that ethical? I think it is, right?
It's just as long as you're not selling those pages or retyping them for somebody else, as long as they're for your use so you can remember.
Yeah.
But here, once again, you have to log in and you can see all the schools. So you tell them you're with Catholic Distance University. And it's going to ask me to authenticate through Populi. So it knows my right to use that's been paid for. Somebody's getting their money.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just wondering if there's any better way of,
I'm going to show you what you can do in here. There are a few things, but no, that's why if I can find a book, so somebody wants one of these books, or I find out that a lot of people are always waiting for a particular book, I now go to the other platform and look at it. And if I can buy a copy that everybody can use simultaneously for like the same price, up to 3 times what this costs, I buy it for the other platform as well. Because if people are waiting for it and it's getting used, and it can be used more easily. But the tricks that I found the best thing, and if somebody else comes up with something, please open your mic and share. So if we're going to look at this book here, The Home of God, first, before we check it out, we may want to preview it. Okay. And then I'm going to go page by page until I find the table of contents. Well, this one, come on. Okay. And I always look, and some of them most of them have them, but some do not. And we don't always have a lot of time to read the whole book or go page by page or up and down the scale to go through it. So I look for ones that they're got purple in the table of contents, so that I can just go and look at that page. So let's say this looks intriguing for my subject I'm writing on. Now I'm in the preview, it's not, but I've seen that, okay, I like this book's chances because I can clip or go page or chapter to chapter. I don't have to page by page. So I'm going to go ahead and borrow it. It's going to let me borrow it for 14 days. Okay, so I've borrowed it. So I'm going to come over here and look. And I'm reading along, and I was like, oh, I want to remember this. So I can highlight it, and I can make a note. I can write myself a note about why I thought that was important. Save. Okay. So I made a note, I made a highlight, and I might do that several other places. Or I can bookmark this page so I can easily get back to it. Then what can happen is, like, I've scanned through this, but I know my 14 days are about up. So what was important in here? I can go back and see my bookmarks and notes. and it's going to show me. Unfortunately, it will not let me share them to an email. I can decide. It wants me to Facebook them or Twitter, and I was just like, no. But at least you can go back and make sure you've got what you want. And if you understand how to screenshot or take a picture with your phone, screenshot that part so you have it. Oh, you're muted, Deacon Sir.
How do you do the screenshots? Is that
it doesn't let you screenshot?
Used to you'd have to print, push print screen, but now I think you can do the window.
On mine, I have to press the Windows key and the print screen key simultaneously. Mary likes a free Microsoft product called Snip and Sketch.
Yeah. Because you can drag however much of the screen you want.
Yes.
Yeah, you
so
can
you
do
can
that
make it
with,
big, and you can do, and then you just save it. And
yeah,
I'll title them something different, so it's not like 12376 BJQ, or something like that. And it saves it, I think, as a JPEG or a PNG. I can't remember.
Yeah, if you hold down the window key and the shift key and push S, then it will freeze the screen and let you select what you want to save, and it will put it in the clipboard.
Okay. What was that again?
It's the Windows key and the shift key. Hold them down and then push S. And then you can use your cursor to just highlight what you want to save, and it puts it in the clipboard.
All right. There's another good tip. We can all learn from each other.
I think that's basically like Snip and Sketch by using keyboard commands.
Yeah, it's hotkey. It might be because since that's a given thing. So you can see here, Snip and Sketch comes with your Windows application. If you've got a Windows computer, I'm not sure what it is on the Mac.
Yeah, I was just going to add for Mac users to do a screenshot. It's usually Command Shift and the number 3, but you can go in. Most of the keyboard options are changeable, so you can go into your own settings to figure out what you may have set it to. But and then it usually just does the full screen, but you can crop it and save the little bit that you need. So and the other
I've been using that all evenings.
The other thing I was going to suggest is that if you are saving sections from something that you've borrowed that has a deadline, just make sure that you also save the citation or other information at the same time as these things, so that you don't have to go back later and try to find that information if you're going to use it in a paper.
All right. Okay. So unless there are any more questions about that, and then when you're done, it's always good. I'm going to return this book because I don't want to hang on to it when I'm really not using it. So to find your books, you go back up here to your initials, and you can go to your checkouts. Well, I don't know why it's not showing it in my checkouts. Maybe oh, now it's showing up in my checkouts. I can return it. And right quick though, sometimes, so this is what's in the instructions. So this, you can download to your tablet Adobe Digital Editions, and then and that's what'll let you read it on your tablet. I don't want that. So, okay. All right. So we've still, we're about at time. So right quick, Mary, no, we do not have access to Project Muse. It was not getting used, and it's a very expensive, and I would pay for full access to JSTOR as your librarian before I would spend the university's resources on Project Muse again. Carrie asked about how to search in a search engine. This is where you want to use this search box right here. And you can search for things by keyword, author, subject, title. It is going to search all of these resources, as well as 120 open access databases that have been connected to it through WorldCats or an OCLC. So if I wanted to search for something on, we'll do Carrie St. Augustine again. And I'm going to ask for it to be the subject of the work to kind of narrow it down. It is going to search. And it's showing me everything I can get access through the Catholic Distance University. And when I look, I can see this is an open theology, is the publication it is in. So it's probably not in, I don't know what's going to come up. And here's where this wormhole can show you, you're not always sure what you're going to get. Sometimes it's going to click to something in Theology and Religion Online or the New Catholic Encyclopedia or the Atlas database, but it could connect you to the Department of Open Access Journals or Division, which is another big source out there. Okay, this has connected me to this publisher's open access site. So DeGrooter is the publish. No, we don't have institutional access, but this is we see the abstract right here. This is one of those, and it keeps going. It has the whole article. So this took me to a publisher site, and here we have download the PDF. Get this out of my way. It will have some of them will have some citation information. Okay. Let's go back and look at another one. Let's see where this one leads us to. This one's leading us back to the Atlas Religion database. And let's see if oh, here's one in Russian. I'm just trying to find another one that's not. Let me look at this one. I'm trying to find another one that is not part of the EBSCO database to try to get another example of, yeah, here's one for this open access. This is another one that's been set up. What's interesting on this particular open access database, universities pay for their professors to have their articles published here. They have to pay to have it published here, but then it's free to everybody else to use. So some of them can be read online only, and others will have PDFs. But so when you use the WorldCat search, you're getting much more access. So does that help, Carrie? But you're going to see everything that you can find without having to go to the individual resources. And
yes,
then
that helps a lot.
Okay, and you can come over here and do an advanced search. So your subject might be Augustine. I'll just leave that. But then you might, your key word that you want to look for in your article might be predestination. So you could narrow it down, and I don't know what we're going to get. I'm guessing it's always, yep. I didn't get anything. So, but you can go that way. Okay. We're a little over time. So do we have any questions? Any last minute questions? Did you find this helpful?
Yes,
Maybe
I have a question, but I would like to share something with theological books because it was the site that I used the whole time. And the good thing that I like is that they have the search history. You can add your favorites. You can go back and you can have the books that you already read. So it's a really good tool to put all together the books that you read and the books that you favorite. And you can check the history, which class do you use which book, and you put your notes, and it's really good.
Okay,
tool.
Thank you for that reminder. That is true. That is really good. Okay, the maybe what we can do is we can talk again, and so we know that we've covered open access and some things with databases. Maybe we'll can have another session where we can come back and look at more of these topics and understand some of those details further. Now, when I did the registration, I promised that attendees everyone who attended, I was doing a giveaway for a $25 gift card. So we're going to spin the wheel, and we may have to spin it a couple of times because you do have to be here to win. So these are the 26 people who registered in advance. So if they are here, they have a chance to win. So I'm going to click and spin. Nancy Keatley, is she here? Oh, look, we even get her. She's cool. Not here, which is okay because that would not be Nancy's first time to win this year. So we're going to spin again. Arthur, are you still here?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. Well, what you'll do is tomorrow you'll get an email with an Amazon gift card link in it. So congratulations. And then as we exit, there will be a exit survey. Please it'll pop up automatically in your browser. Please complete that survey so we know how I did, if there's more things we want to learn, how useful you found it. So, okay. And I'll
thank you, Stephanie. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Everybody get a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Good to see you all.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Happy Holy Week.
Yes.
Thank you.
Happy Holy Week.
Yeah.